Hi guys, and welcome to day 14 of building a Delorean time machine in just 20 days. We're back after the Christmas period, so we're going to be doing some of the gear on the back of the car now. So stick with us to see how we get on today. Right, so I've just put this little bridge between the front vent and the rear vent, and what I've used is this. It's perforated mesh, and it's the same mesh that we will be putting on the flux bands later on. It's just a 3mm drilled aluminium mesh. So what I've done, I've literally lined them up. I've just popped that one in, so I'm going to record this one. But I've just put it into position, and it's just sat between the bolts on the inside, so you can carve it, and actually really malleable, so it's really good for fitting in tight spaces. And then what I'm going to be using is a little bit of this, and this is just a corrugated rubber. You can buy it in a strip or on a mat, and all I've done is I've cut this to fit, and it's just going to sit along there the whole way around, and I'm going to glue it into position, and it just gives that little rubber bridging gap between the two vents. So I'll do a quick time lapse, but it's going to take a minute anyway. So now I've got that all glued in position. That's done, and it's makes the vents look a bit more complete. Once we've obviously dirtied them up a bit and put some paint on and some airbrushing and everything else, it'll look the part. Right, I'm now going to start on possibly the metal hose that comes out of the Janitrol and onto the bulkhead, and also I might see if I can build the two little pipes that go from the oil sets onto the reactor core. There's some twisted braided hose. So I'll line that all up and we'll be right back. Hi guys. So in the film we've got some metal braided hosing, which we have here. Comes up out of this unit, does a nice little loop around that way and hits the front of this. Now I don't have any of the actual hoses to hand because they're custom built and I didn't have time to get custom built ones, but what I do have are sleeves with washers, and I've got some of the correct size braided hosing. So what I'll be doing is actually installing these, one here, one here. I'll be drilling them into this, but I'll be bolting them through this alley just to give it a bit more strength. And then we'll cut this, get it lined up, get the black tape on these, and get it all in position. So I'll do a time lapse of me kind of putting this stuff together, and then I'll show you when we're a bit closer to putting it on and how we kind of wedge it all in position and bolt it down. Right, now I've got my stainless steel braided hose and I've got my fittings. So what I'm going to be doing now is actually putting two small fittings on here and then two small fittings on here, and then we'll twist this hose around on both sides. It does a little loop so they look symmetrical from the back of the car. And yeah, I'll do a time lapse of me putting this on and we'll see you after. I'm going to be drilling and bolting it onto this section, so I'll tap and bolt it down so these will not move. Because these are 3D printed, I'm going to go quite carefully on these. I'm going to drill a pilot hole and I'll fix these carefully with a small fixing. And we'll get these on and I'll see you after. Right, I thought I'd just quickly show you what I've done. So I've drilled some 5mm holes and tapped them out, and I'm using an Allen key bolt to actually bolt these down. Now, because I've tapped and threaded these, it means I don't need to get underneath to get a bolt, a nut on the bolt, which is quite important when you are stuck for space on these cars. So drilling and tapping is quite a handy thing. So it means these are now rock solid and they're not going to move, and because the bend of the hose is really handy. So apart from that, what I'm also using is in here, this is the sleeve for the hose. It's quite a big fitting because obviously it's supposed to come out the other end, and I'm using a penny washer. So by putting a penny washer in, it covers that gap, and then by dropping this bolt through, it then means, there we are, I got that right for you guys. There. So you've got the end of the fixing, it's then got a washer, and then the bolt is holding that flat like that, so it's rock solid, it's not going to move anywhere. And the good thing about that is that it's a really easy way to fix things on without having additional bits. So if anyone's stuck on trying to fix something, that's a really good way of using it. And then it means you can just line it up. Get my little fixing in. There we are. And before I go extra tight, just look on the top and make sure that it's in the dead center. There we are. And then what I can do, I can rotate these if I need to. If I want these little joins that I've got at the back out of sight, like that. Oh, and that one's already at the back. Perfect. If I tighten that one up a little more. Great. So now it means that when I go to put my hoses on, I don't know if they'll fit yet because I haven't cut the braided ends off, but it means they'll sleeve inside that really nicely and that they won't move. So it's a really, really good fixing. Right, I'll get these. That needs tightening back up, but that one is solid. I'll get the other one screwed on and then I'll cut it to size and I'll show you how we just slot it together. Once it's slotted inside these, they actually don't move, so it's really handy. A little dab of glue inside that and it means it's not going to come off. Right, everyone, there's our twisted hose. As you can see, they look symmetrical from the back. And then all we have are the fittings at the bottom and then these little fittings on the top. At the minute, they're just positioning there, but what I'll do is I'll bond them in, but they'll do the job for the back of the car. And if I get the stator in a minute, I'll line that up and you can have a little look at what it looks like with it all on. Hello, so I've got these little bolt fixtures here, and these are meant to go on the oil seps. So what I've done is the double-headed screw, so I can screw it into the unit and then get the hose. And this connects the front unit of the reactor core to the oil separators with two fuel lines on either side. So these are the ones that are just going at the back. So I'm going to install these, and then I'm going to drill and tap the front ones, and then we'll get the hoses in. So at least we've got the hoses on the front of the reactor core. Right, everyone, so I've just put these ends on these hoses. So I've got 4 of them, and what I'm going to do is put them on the reactor core in just a moment. Right, now I've just used some of this plastic. It's very thin, it's yellow, and it's 1.5mm thick, and it's ever so slightly translucent under LED lights. What I've done, so I've applied a section on the back of the hubcap. Looks a little bit messy on the back, but it doesn't matter. What matters is that the front looks smart. So there's no overlaps on this, and it means when I hold it up to the light, it should glow through slightly. So when it's on the back of the reactor core like that, it should look all right. So we shall see. Right, now what I've managed to do is get our 4 fuel lines drilled in and fitted, and they run around to what I was fixing earlier, which is the 2 little bolts on the bottom of the oil separators. Now we've got these little hoses in and we've got those on, it kind of brings that whole area a little bit more together. So I'm really happy with how that's come across. And now what I'm going to try and do is do one of the reactor core vent hoses, which goes from the side of the reactor core to the bulkhead. I've got 2 of them ready to go, so we're going to line those up and see if we can get those fitted as well. Right, so here we have one of the hoses, and this fits on the side of the reactor core vent there, and then bolts on to the bulkhead there. So what I need to do to get this to line up right, I've got to drill a hole in the center of this for this to go through into this, because I also have these, which are two little catch plates that sit on top, and we have 4 bolts. And what I do is if I cut this hole bigger than this hole, then it means that the hose can go through without being pulled off. It seems to be the easiest way to kind of get these to attach nicely, and also it gives you a bit of movement if you need to lift the bonnet up. That will swivel with it. So I'll line these up. I'll drill those on first, and what I do need to do is actually make these ever so slightly bigger. They just don't quite fit, ever so slightly. So what I'll do is I'll drill our nice big hole in the center. I'll line it up, then I'll put those on, drill it, and then we'll try and get that fitted. So there we've got the first hose fitted for the vent. Took a little while to get the hole big enough. And yeah, so I put these little pads on, which are the same as what's on the film car. That will stop it from coming out. And we'll also put a plate on the back side so that the pipe doesn't fall through this way. So it's literally sandwiched between everything, which is quite good. And it's got movement to it, which is quite good for when you do want to lift or open the hood. These will move with it, which is kind of what you want. I will start on the other side. Right, so now I've got this one secure. It's just a matter of actually tightening this end onto this fitting that I put on the bulkhead here. So I'll line that up, and then it should slowly screw in nicely. Get to a certain point and then twist. There we are. And there we have the second hose that sits on the bulkhead like that. Lovely. And once again, it's got the movement now, so that when the bonnet goes up, everything will move with it. Now, I've got 4 little holes on the bottom of this Robinson's aviation mount. There's just 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can actually access these if you look straight down. There's just enough room to fit a screwdriver. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to make 4 little holes, and I'll mount that in this corner. And I'm going to do the same with this as well. There's 3 little holes on the bottom of this. So I'll mark those out, and we'll get those lined up, and we'll quickly pop those in. Actually, it's just these outer 2, not those 2. But just those outer 2, and we'll pop, and we'll get those 2 fitted as well. Now, I've got a nice little easy one here. I have a piece of conduit, and we've got a few purple clamps. Now, this actually sits right in this little section here, along there like that, and we have some of the cables that come out and go to the terminal connector back here, which we will do the cabling another day. For the meantime, I'm just going to see if I can get these pinched nicely. What we'll try and do is see if we can get this installed. It's quite a simple one. It's the little P-clamps, and they're quite easy. They're just a little bit tight when you are trying to get the conduit conduit tight. Now, I didn't want to do massive screws in this, but I might have to if these won't reach. Give me a moment. That's one. Pull this across like that. Up there. I'm going to go for a... Hi guys, right, from this point my microphone has died, but this is the last clip of the video. It's just me struggling to get 2 little screws in. Once I've got them in, it's nice and tight and it's ready for the cables. But thank you guys for watching, and we will see you on day 15.